Right, so you know that annoying feeling where you put your fan on, it's blowing, but it's not quite hitting you. Well, most fans have those basic adjustments to try and help, but oftentimes it just isn't anywhere near what you need. This fan right here is intended to fix that problem. This is the DREO TurboPoly Fan 765S, and today we're going to find out whether its headline features are genuinely useful or whether it's just clever marketing. And full disclosure, DREO did send this fan to me for the purposes of this review. But I have been using it, I have been testing it, and the opinions I share with you today are my own. So let's just get straight into it and talk about what this fan can actually do in terms of the raw airflow. The numbers are definitely impressive. Wind speed reaches 8.8 meters per second with a reach of over 36 meters, or about 120 feet. The air volume output is 2,549 cubic meters per hour, which is significantly ahead of the mid-range competitors. DREO claims it can circulate a standard-sized room in under a minute, and based on those output figures, that's a credible claim. Now, I've already been using this Shark fan over the last couple of summers, and price-wise, it is a little bit more expensive than this DREO fan right here. And whereas the main advantage of the Shark model is that it can be used cordlessly on battery, that's not a feature I've used all that often. I usually have it plugged in anyway. And in terms of the actual performance, there's no question that the DREO model right here does actually perform significantly better. For example, the wind speed of the Shark tops out considerably lower, around 7 meters per second, and its airflow volume sits at roughly 1,700 cubic meters per hour. So the DREO is simply able to push out more air, push it out harder and further. And comparing the DREO to something like a Lasco fan, then the DREO nearly triples the wind speed while using roughly half of the electricity. So that is some serious efficiency right there. And going back to my Shark, the oscillation on the Shark is 180 degrees horizontal, which yes, is slightly wider than the 150 degrees on the DREO model. However, the Shark only has manual vertical oscillation, whereas the DREO has 100 degrees vertical oscillation, which is motorised. And of course, you can combine that with the horizontal oscillation at the same time. That's where you are getting that full air circulation. But I also want to talk about this. Okay, it's a fan controller. You've probably seen these with other fans, but I don't think you've seen one that works quite like this. This is a MotionSync controller. And if you just look up close here, you can see you have options right here, including this button in the middle. You can just manually control the oscillation of the fan and get it absolutely pinpoint where you need it. Actual main MotionSync is a really neat little feature. Just hold down that center button and then literally just move the controller, and it's only going to be subtle movements. It's really responsive, but the fan will mirror those movements. So maybe if you're sat on the settee, slightly too warm, instead of having to stand up, fanny about moving the fan or having to wait for the oscillation to get into the position where you need it to, you can just refine it instantly. And again, that's up to 150 degrees horizontal and up to 100 degrees vertical. Next up, the 765S is fully compatible with the DREO app. And I've got to say, if you've not used the DREO app before, then you are going to love this. It has absolutely all the features. But what I really like, on top of the features that are available, for example, on the actual touchpad on the fan or on the remote control, the app is also going to give you the possibility of just fine-tuning the settings to exactly what you want them to be, and also to set up schedules as to when the fan is going to come on, turn itself off. So this is genuinely in a different league, especially if you are trying to run a smart home. But also night use is well thought through. So the display dims and turns off automatically after inactivity, and the remote can actually glow in the dark. Some small details there, but especially useful at 2 AM. And the other thing is that the sleep mode is quite clever here, because it will actually dim the speed of the fan throughout the night as well. Oh, and one more thing worth mentioning here, at 20 decibels on its lowest setting, this is an exceptionally quiet fan. The brushless DC motor generates far less friction and electrical noise than a more traditional AC motor, which by the way is part of why it's also more efficient. And the blade design is inspired by owl wing geometry, with a gradual thick to thin profile, smoothing out the airflow and cutting out turbulence. Basically, the result here is that you can run this overnight without it bothering you. And just to give you a sense of that, here's a bit of a test that I recorded. This is the fan on the lowest setting. I can't even hear it right now. It is very quiet. So this is going to be a great setting to use at night time in the bedroom when you're trying to sleep. So in conclusion, the DREO TurboPoly 765S is quite probably the most feature-rich fan that I have ever tested. The MotionSync remote is genuinely innovative and it solves a real problem in a way that feels natural the moment you get to try it. The airflow output is class leading and you really can feel the power of that wind, especially when compared to other fans, including fans that, are premium and you expect to have a lot of power. I would suggest that there's a good chance this DREO on its higher settings is able to outperform them. The smart home integration is proper and hub-free, and the noise level is excellent. So if you're comparing this to a basic pedestal fan, it's not even going to be close. If you're comparing it to a more premium option like the Shark, then yeah, DREO still wins out on airflow, on smart features, and on that control system. The Shark simply doesn't have an answer for MotionSync. So the link for this, I will drop that down in the description. Hopefully the video has been helpful to you. And if you want to see more like this, please do subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.